Hello, welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Okay, so I just want to explain something that I'm going to do. As you saw from last week, I've managed to get hold of 6 panels of Harris fencing, which is the sort of the metal framed stuff that you see around building sites and stuff like that to stop people getting into the building site and to protect people from the the sort of the working environment. Now what I've done is I've got 6 of these, and what I'm going to be doing is cutting them up, and basically I'm going to be using the pipe work to rebuild the tunnel with the black mesh on it. Now the tunnel, when I first made it, which was probably about 5-6 years ago, I didn't really have the right sort of materials to make it at the time. So what I did, I basically just sort of got it together so I could use it, and it stood me in. It stood up for the past 6 years, so it's 5-6 years, so it's done all right. But what I'm going to do is, now I've got the materials, I have been looking out for these for some time, to be honest with you. What I'm going to be doing now is rebuilding the one tunnel, so it's going to look similar to the other one, which is the green one. Now, basically, what I'm going to be doing is recycling the sort of the round bits, which are the 2 end parts, obviously one with the door on. And what I'm going to be doing is making another one of these out of the pipe work off the Harris fence, and I'm going to be joining it all together with the pipe off the Harris fence as well. So I've just got a few diagrams that I'll show you now, and then this will be coming up in the next sort of, I don't know, 2 or 3 months or so. But what I'll be doing is preparing the materials, and then as soon as the potatoes come out in sort of August, September time, I'll be taking the potatoes out, at least this top portion here, and I'll be rebuilding the tunnel. So that's something to look forward to. But that'll be coming up. But over the next few weeks, what I will do is show you some video, because what I'm going to be doing is making most of the parts in advance to do it. So what I want to do is, as soon as the potatoes are out, what I want to be able to do is be in a position where I've got all the parts ready cut and made to size. So all I basically do is assemble it on the allotment. So over the next few weeks, what I'll be doing is showing you me making various parts of it, and obviously it'll all come together in a couple of months' time. But I'll be starting by making the end, sort of the oval shape at the top, the sort of the round shape, which is 8 foot across, so 4 foot radius. Then I'll be making the side parts at the bottom. So I'll be basically making the end with a door in it, and I'll be making the door out. This is all going to be out of the pipe of the Harris fence. And then as soon as I've made the end, what I'm going to be doing then is making the pipes which are going to connect the 2 ends of the middle section together. So there's going to be 5 pipes between the 2. And then what I have found is, with the brassicas, the wind tends to catch them up here. So the bottom around 2 foot, 2-3 foot of the tunnel is going to be covered with aluminium, the same aluminium I made the weather vane out of. So what I'm going to be doing is, this is all recycled material. What I'm going to be doing is making the framework, and then I'm going to be pop riveting aluminium round the sort of the bottom, I don't know, sort of 3 foot or so of it, and then obviously the top bit is going to have the new green debris mesh that I explained before. So basically what I'll have is mesh from sort of 3 foot up and round, and then the bottom bit is going to be aluminium. Then obviously at the 2 ends I'm going to end up with a door at both ends of the new one, so I can walk all the way through it to the other side. So that's going to be coming up for the next few weeks. But as I say, I've put a few diagrams together now, just to sort of quickly explain how it's sort of put together. So I'll just show you those now.
Okay, so just do a quick tour so you can see how things are going on. This is the greenhouse, and obviously the tomatoes are up at kind of 4 foot or so now. I do need to tie these back and just have a go around and just pull any of the side branches out. The cucumbers are doing really well. This one's flopped over here, but as you can see, there's one nice one down there. Look, so you can see there. If I can find it, there you go. So no doubt I'll have some cucumbers to harvest in the next week or so. So that's that side. This side, again, the tomatoes are doing okay. No problem at all there. Got this sweet corn here, which is a little bit albino. So I've got plants on the floor at the minute, so I'm just potting up. These are the broccoli plants. They've all been potted up now, just ready to be watered. The hollyhocks and some of the nicandra has been done. The Jimmy chili, Big Jim chilies. Doing alright. We've got a little bit of leaf damage on there. I'm not quite sure what's done that because there's no evidence of slugs, but something's damaged it. And the Nero kale's just about ready to go out. I've got a few spare beans and there's some spare parsnips in there that are going to go in the ground. Out here we've got the herbs, so the hollyhocks are almost starting to form the buds. This mint, because it's just been raining, the mint's quite strong out here at the moment. The comfrey's all sort of flopping over really. I really need to sort of chop that down and start to make the first batch of fertiliser. These herbs here have done really well, but unfortunately there's a few weeds that have formed in there, and I've been frightened to pull them out because I don't want to disturb the roots too much. So what I'm going to do is wait for it to dry out a little bit and then get the weeds out of there in the next couple of days. Rosemary, oreganon's doing okay. Sweet peas are coming on nicely here. Now here we've got the hydrangeas. They need to go out in the not too distant future, so really now's the kind of time to dig the borders out and put them in, so I'll be putting them in the next week or two. Tomatoes need to be potted up. The leeks are ready to go out. I was going to do that today, but unfortunately the weather's been too bad. Those are the lentils there just hardening off, so I'll be putting those out in the next few days. Some more tomatoes and bits and bobs. These ones are doing really well. Again, they need to be tied back up. And the raspberries are coming on quite strong, as you can see. We've got some yellow ones forming here. You can see those, and there's some red ones further along there. So we'll be picking some raspberries before too much longer. Oh, there's one there, just zoom in. The asparagus has done really well, but it has been a little bit windswept, so what I need to do is put some sticks in there and just sort of hold it back. I have put some canes in, but the rest of the tomato plants are going to go kind of down here, so I need to just sort of strengthen that up. So as soon as I put the tomatoes in, what I'm going to do is use the same structure and put some bamboo across just to support them a little bit. Likewise with the sunflowers, as you can see, this one here is growing really well. That's a good sort of inch across. You know, the girth of that's about an inch or so. The one in the middle is the biggest one there. So what I'll do is as soon as the head of this has gone past this metal bar here, I'll tie these up against there, just to give them a bit of support, because what I don't want is the wind to pick up and that to be sort of blown over. Potatoes are doing alright. These ones are a little bit slow to develop, but the rest of them are doing alright. I've got a few flowers coming on the odd one. So it has been a strange old year really for the potatoes. But well, it's been a strange year for a few things, but these need to grow on a little bit more, obviously. I don't know why the delays on these, but and I've noticed there's an odd coloured leaf on that one. However, I've had a look and it's not fungal. It's I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's most certainly not blight. The field that we've got over this hedge here, that's got blight in it. I actually noticed the other night, so that's obviously where it's coming from. Sweet potatoes, I've been advised today that they are growing, but they're not quite as well as they could be. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move these pipes into the greenhouse in the next week or so, because I think they'll be better off in the greenhouse, because there'll be a longer season, and they're going to be easier to water and stuff in there anyway. But I was a little bit worried about the room. But I was speaking to somebody today who actually grows sweet potatoes on a regular basis, and he said he grows it in the polytunnel, so I think I need to put them in the greenhouse. They're the courgette plant. As you can see, they are starting to pick up a little bit, but they've got a way to go yet. The rest of the potatoes are doing alright. A few weeds in there, but they're alright. Here are the onions. Unfortunately, I've had allium fly attack them, so we've got these leaves that have gone all curly here. That's obviously the allium fly again. They only seem to have affected the odd one, The ones that are further developed seem to be okay, so it's the ones that are sort of younger that have been affected by them. Nothing I can do. I've just got to just sort of leave them to it, really, I suppose. So those are the onions though. But what I might do next year is rather than, or at least this year, rather than growing onions at this time of the year, I might grow the the winter onions, because these ones are. This is the second year I've had this. Obviously, the other thing I could do is put a fleece over them, so I could potentially do that. But just grow like half the amount that I'm growing in the summer, and then grow the winter ones as well, which are kind of harvested around now. So I'm going to rethink how I do the onions, to be honest with you. The Nero kale, obviously, as you can see, is doing really well. The peas are doing really well over there as well. And we've got the sweet peas here. I need to tie them up, but they're also getting themselves established. These kale plants here are doing really well. As you can see, they're fattening up quite nicely. Sunflowers along the front here are starting to pick up. They've grown about 6 inches this week. Now the brassicas in here doing really well. This green fleece really suits the brassicas, I think. So as you can see, they are really healthy plants, and I'm really pleased with them. Even though these ones have sort of come to fruition a little bit early, the ones that we have cut off, as you can see, the second flourish of heads are coming. So what I'm going to do is harvest the rest of this, and we'll eat that over the next week or so. I'll leave these second ones on and eat those as and when they're ready, and then as soon as they're all done, I'm going to whip all this out, feed it to chickens, and then I'm going to put the second batch in that you've seen me potting up earlier today. So these are going to have effectively a second harvest of that, hopefully, this year. I don't know if they'll have time to develop by the end of the year, but we can but try. So just coming down here, things doing really well here. The spinach is doing well, if you can see it amongst the weeds. I need to really get in there and fetch all them weeds out, but as I say, the weather's not been right for it really. These Swedes are doing really well. Really impressed with the Swedes this year. So we've got a good 2 rows of Swedes there. Parsnips I've been weeding through this week again. I've got up to kind of there, as you can see. The middle variety there, which was Arrow, this is one of the experiments. Only 3 of the plants have grown. This is the Javelin variety, so they've grown really well. The middle ones, as I say, haven't done very well at all. I'm not quite sure at the end, but I think they're okay. But that's the Albion one at the end. Anyway, the middle variety is no good. So what I'm going to do is some of those parsnips that are in the greenhouse, I'm going to just pop them in every 6 inches or so. Beetroot's doing all right. It's not as good as other people's, but it's most certainly growing. Again, the weeds are doing really well as well. But they're coming on. In fact, to be honest with you, I don't know, these beetroot here, because they're both red varieties, but this one seems to be quite pale. So this one must be the one that's, got the vein running through it like an onion. But I was expecting this to be red, so it's going to be a bit tricky to weed this. Obviously, these ones are obvious which ones are the beetroot. But anyway, we'll see how we get on. I'll hopefully weed all this out this week. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. But anyway. Rhubarb's doing alright. That's obviously going to die down a bit now, then we'll get the second flourish later in the year. But as I say, we've had a good harvest of rhubarb this year. We've probably had about 15 kilos of rhubarb off here, if not more. So, because there's a few other people that have had some as well, so probably going on for 20 kilos of rhubarb out of this patch. The other gourds, this is the pumpkins. The giant pumpkins, and then we've got the rest of them. This one's most certainly growing. There's 3 more leaves on there from when I planted it the other day. The others are struggling on a little bit, but they will catch up. The lentils are quite pitiful, to be honest with you, so what I'm going to do is replant these 2 rows. I've got some more plants, as you know. What I'm going to do is replant these and get them ready. And these are the lentils. These are the chickpeas here. And the chickpeas are doing really well. That's how big they should be. But obviously these ones here have been nobbled by the pigeons. So I do really need to get up here and put some mesh over. The calendulas are starting to come through. I've got one there with a dark centre in it. These ones start to come through. None of the pink ones have started to show yet. But as I say, they are starting to come, so there'll be a nice show later on. The beans are really growing. The wind's kind of blown them a little bit, to be honest with you, so I have to keep coming up and re-wrapping them around the posts. And they have got a bit of wind scorch on them, which is this sort of paling around here, but nevertheless they are growing. I've got a few flowers on some of them, so they are coming. But as you can see, this one here, I have to keep coming up and sort of wrapping it round re-wrapping it round the posters, just to start it off. As soon as it gets a couple of foot's worth of sort of growth on it, it'll sort of wrap itself around from then on. But I've had to do that on a few of them. Obviously the weeds are growing really well as well. The lettuce is close to being harvested. I don't think you can see the lettuce down in there, but the lettuce is doing well. So the onions aren't affected by the allium fly this side, or at least I don't think they are. Well, there's a little bit of evidence there, but it just seems to be that one end. So, but unfortunately, when you've got so many people growing onions like this, sort of next to each other, you really do run the risk of the flies getting in there. To the side of the potatoes, again, I need to do some weeding. I can't keep on top of the weeds at the moment, they're absolutely incredible. I don't know if everybody else is the same, but I've just about had me fill of weeds for 1 year, to be honest. They're the sunflowers from this side, as you can see. The one in the middle of winning the race at the moment. This one here is doing really well. So they are getting to the point now where really I need to tie them back onto the frame. This first metal bracket here. So what I will do is string them up against the metal bar there, just to give them a little bit of support, because the last thing I want is for the wind to pick up and then them to be damaged. So as you can see, the raspberries are coming on here. I still need to sort out something with this empty bit here, and we're back at the strawberries. As you can see, there's plenty of them coming, so looks like another eating mess tonight, but that's the allotment this week.
So thank you for watching this episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. I do appreciate all of the support that all of you have been giving me, and thank you for all the comments and questions. If you do have any on anything that I've done this week, please don't hesitate to put any comments below, and I'll get back to you with the answer or whatever, whatever advice I can give you. And I'll see you on the next episode of Jim's Allotment Garden.